a lot on Archie. His performance today is going to be imperative to their success, as it always is. And starting off, Flame misses an open net.
I gave top Blokes the benefit of the doubt, and look how they're starting off. Just a little too wide to the left. So maybe they'll be able to change things around, but hey, it's going to be a good series. This is, I think, one of the first times we've had an opening game that's really been a heavyweight fight back and forth. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see these teams go at it. But with 4 minutes to play here in day number 1 of this regional, and of course, it's Thursday afternoon. A couple of shots do ring out from both teams, but no one really able to capitalize yet.
I mean, when I first saw that we had this matchup on this stream, exactly, Spaceman, this is a heavyweight bout. And people might have seen, I started grinning, like, in the pre-show. I was just like, oh, this is going to be good. Because these are honestly 2 of my favorite teams in Europe right now. I love how Endpoint play, and I love how top Blokes have held themselves, despite the fact they are orgless at the moment and looking to get an org. So another good showing. Hopefully they're in talks with somebody, because, man, they deserve it. But a minute so far, gone with just a few post-hits.
Now, one of the cool things about the grids is that we obviously get a chance to watch individual teams and we understand tendencies. So we all know how I feel about Rogue. But with Endpoint, what have you seen from this team? If you give me like 2 or 3 things that stand out that they either A, have to fix playing a team like top Blokes, or B, that you're looking specifically for them to be successful.
The obvious thing that I'm not going to harp on about too much is going to be Virtuoso's demos. He goes looking for them often. He is very, very competent at them as well. Like I said, he's got nearly double the amount of second place across Regional 2. So demos, massive thing for Virtuoso. Everybody knows that. The other thing is how Metanoris is playing. Defensively and offensively, Metza has usually never looked better. He is an incredible player, but a couple of times there's a few issues on the Endpoint defense. That one not necessarily being one of them, because it does end up hitting the post, and then it being the first goal for top Blokes. But Metanoris, I think, is the biggest character that can make or break the Endpoint backline. Recently in the grid, I praised him a lot for his positioning on sidewalls and on the backboard, where he would intercept very well, a lot like how BDS would do, or Giants would do, where you see Zamway whipping himself across the midfield line and going for it as often as possible. And Metanoris proving midfield is everywhere at the moment. He sits there and he gets the first goal for Endpoint.
Well, it looked like we might have a breakaway for a moment, but 2 responsive and 1-1 we sit. 2:51, plenty of time. You can see Cassio in the back line trying to bump out players in the net, but I think rotating back that far, it works most of the time. Sometimes you will get burned. And that's just another situation where, hey, it's quick goals that you give up like that. Now everyone just kind of mentally resets, says, okay, let's continue forward. It's basically 0-0, 2 minutes to play. And, you know, I haven't seen like a lot from either team that's stuck out. It's really been a couple of shots here, a couple of saves there. No one's been able to orchestrate like one solid push as a team. The ball's been taken away a couple of times on offense for both sides. So it's back and forth, and that's what we expected in this series.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, I spoke a lot about Metanoris' defense. I think we are yet to see all 3 players be on at the same time. We've seen it with some of the bigger hitters like your BDSs, your Giants even, Top Blokes and Vitality. We've seen all 3 of those players be on at the same time, and it is a wonder to watch. We've seen Relating Wave do an incredible job in the last couple of weeks in the grid, when previously he was underperforming. In his own words as well, he was not happy with how he was playing. Metanoris had a few offensive and defensive mishaps, which then led into him then playing incredibly solid, just not at the same time as Relating Wave. And Virtuoso, I don't think yet he has had an incredible pop-off day, but the shot comes in, and approaching 90 seconds, Endpoint, they're still hoping that today is going to be their day, and a playoffs calls.
You know, it's one thing when a player kind of sits in a slump for a while, but when multiple players start going through that and then they start working their way out of it, you start finding some success, things are changing. I think it does a lot for the mental of a team, right? Because if one player's lagging behind, sure, you don't want to say it out loud, but you're like, dude, you need to step up. But if everyone's kind of struggling and all of a sudden a flip switch and it looks like for a minute things are looking good, a long bomb from midfield as Metanoris is able to capitalize. Archie really didn't get enough power behind that shot, but sometimes it just takes everyone to go through a slump together, and the team can rebuild stronger than they were before when they went in.
And Endpoint leading now. That shot from Metanoris from his own goal line after Archie, I think, presumed there was somebody to his left to receive the pass. There wasn't, and instead Metanoris can send it over a boostless Cassio. Cassio with a shot on the open net and gets the miss with Metanoris. And the back missing defensively as well. Hoping that those errors don't continue. But equally, this game looking to be pretty good for Endpoint. Now, in the midfield, Metzer sends it down towards Archie, can take it away. Archie, one of the most mechanically impressive players in the RLCS at all, not even just as one of the rookies, as one of the players in the RLCS looking at the veterans. He is an absolutely standout player, and definitely somebody that I think we're going to see make a gigantic impact in the RLCS in seasons going forward as well. But a miss from Virtuoso gives Casio his first goal.
And they really needed this. There was a couple of shots that just weren't off base, and Top Blokes have had trouble in game one, finally do tie things up, but whether it's accuracy, precision, power behind some of the hits, it hasn't really been there for Top Blokes. And to give credit to where credit is due, all of Endpoint, other than one booming hit, they've taken advantage of the misses and been able to spread the field. So with a tie game 2-2 with about 30 seconds left, you're really looking at Top Blokes and saying, okay, when are you guys going to kind of wake up? Because these hits have been pretty lackluster.
And both teams having definite weak spots so far. So the heavy hitters missing a couple of chances each, but Archie sending it high towards Casio. Flame goes up as well, and then will not quite get on the end of that. Metzner also sending it slightly into his path. Vert can catch. Looks like overtime is on its way as well in game number one. Metzer and Casio both missing. Vert keeps it up. And will keep it up again with 20 boost. He can send it across to Metzer. No, he can't. Not quite. And overtime in game number one. After Endpoint as well came off that perfect sweep.
Yeah. We'll see if they can play the ball into the corner. It's Flame trying to extend it. He'll do it. A nice pinch out. Virtuoso will take it to the adjacent side, and he will bring it back to midfield, but Casio responds quickly up to Archie off the backboard. Relating Wave did get a touch, but Flame again will try to recenter it back down. And a couple of these hits will favor Top Blokes as they can start to boost starve. Archie could not Eurostep his way through the net. Netsa Norris has to go up for that challenge over to Relating Wave. And again, just good passes in the air, but both teams still vying kind of for position into these corners. And these hits will continue to boost starve Endpoint until they're able to get out to midfield. That's a big booming clear, so we'll be able to play it to Virtuoso. No crossing pattern there. But back down to the corner, both teams still trying to find a spot.
Top Bloke's not taking the couple of chances they've been gifted here either, where there's been a sloppy bit of defense, but then to go alongside it, it's been a sloppy bit of offense as well. Top Bloke's not giving away chances quite as much as we have seen Endpoint do so. Typically it's been a bit of an outplay for Endpoint. That's too committed though. Virtuoso going for the demo. Has the shot on and saved from the crossbar. Vert opening that goal up, but Endpoint cannot win the overtime just yet.
Casio will bring it down, and he will not get past Virtuoso. Metsonoris is there. He's going to go up with it. 1v2 in the box. Can he pull his way in? Yes, he can, of course. Metsonoris with a massive overtime goal.
Metsonoris sends it high. Archie and Flame, neither one knowing who should go for it. Archie has to go up awkwardly, backwards into frontwards, and Metzer follows it on, gets the dunk, sends it in the middle. Endpoint CEX take it away in game number one, winning it in overtime. And no, I don't want to say that I supported Endpoint from the start, but Subi, how much did Top Blokes pay you, mate?
Well, that's what I told you coming in. I said, listen, stats are great, but honestly, sometimes stats mean absolutely nothing. And I think that that kind of sentiment really is important in the first games of the day, and sometimes in, you know, the last parts of the day where a team, let's say they make a run through the losers bracket, they've played like 6 or 7 matches, and they come up and they're like, oh my God, they're hot right now. And I'm like, yeah, but stats really mean nothing, because think about how long they've been playing. And in the beginning of the day, think about the fact that not many people have played their matches yet. So sure, Top Blokes could have taken Endpoint in the last 4 or 5 matches. But when you're coming fresh off into an event-style format, and you're coming right in, not a lot of warm-up time, and there's a lot on the line, stats really don't do the picture. You need to watch how they play. And off the start, Endpoint just looked like the more orchestrated team. Just they're hitting their shots, they're not missing accuracy, and everyone's stepping up. Everyone is contributing.
I mean, there were a couple of times for Endpoint where there were issues at the back. I mean, both the goals were from defensive misses in the end, but hoping they can follow them up. But Top Blokes will need to do more, because there were more chances than goals in that game. So Top Blokes will be disappointed that they couldn't finish it off. Metzer sends it long, a little bit too much spice on that one, though, as Archer can send it away. Flame with another tap on Relating Wave, solo at the back, so can send it high, caught by Vert, sent long. Nobody down that right wing, so catching by Flame. Virtuoso, though, continues on that path of destruction. Wave central to Metzer, intercepted by Archie. Vert now solo at the back. 20 boost on the backboard. He can get it away over one, but not 2 as Casio continues this offense, 50ing his way down the pitch. It becomes dangerous. Top Blokes not quite able to finish it in that phase of play.
You're seeing a lot of Top Blokes use that lower third to try to put pressure into the corners. If they can try to pitch the ball out and center it for a teammate, they'll follow through with a couple of numbers, but they're really trying to press the issue when it comes to getting physical on the sides and making sure Archie can run the point.
I think Metsonoris is the player that I've got my eye on the most because he is he's like a human concertina. You don't know whether he's in or out, but Metsonoris realizing that, you know what, I don't actually know what a concertina is, so I'm just going to score instead.
I was thinking exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, yeah, references. There's a goal.
I think it's called a concertina. I'm literally going in Steam web browser to Google this.
What is a concertina?
Concertina. Is that a thing?
Is this another UK thing?
Actually, it's a concertina. Yeah, it's a you know the pushy blowy bit of an accordion?
Yes.
It's that, but without the without the keys that the accordion has.
Oh,
the pushy blowy bit of an accordion.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sure. Okay.
Genuinely might be the first time that a concertina has ever been brought up on an esports broadcast. And I'm happy that you're here to join me.
I honestly think you're right. Look, the machinations of your mind remain an enigma for most people. I think that's the great thing about it. That shot's off net. A little too high. Again, accuracy's still an issue right now for Top Blokes.
Archie at the back, though, tried to keep it away with Relating Wave, and he does manage to do so. The Endpoint still leading as we approach half-time in this game. Metza on the left wing has 50 boost, but Casio is up higher and quicker than he is. Archie sends it long, and Relating Wave pancaking it against the wall, and then Virtuoso, like opposite, pinching it away. Sent far by Metza. Can Wave get there to hit it in? Above the crossbar, he cannot.
Archie with a big save, and now you can lead Way, but the challenges in the front will slow down this Top Blokes push, and that leaves Metsonoris easy in the back. He'll grab boost, and he actually might have that one on target, and it will be. Gets bumped out of the play, but it doesn't matter. He's able to, again, capitalize from long range and finds another goal here in this series.
Virtuoso putting in work as well. Gets rid of Flame on the pitch, and then sets his eyes on Casio, meaning neither of them can go for that ball. Virtuoso and Met linking up for, I think, 3 out of 5 of the goals that Endpoint have got now. But Casio is gifted with an open net. And as it is with Endpoint, Cole's alluding to it, these are a heartbreak team. Games that they should win and balls that they should hit don't always go the way of Endpoint.
It's so weird watching these two teams. I mean, with Endpoint, you have long shots from, behind midfield that are going in. For Top Blokes, okay, that's a goal too.
That's another one.
Metsonoris with his third, why not? But with Top Blokes, you have slow rolling hits and low accuracy shots. This is like the complete opposite, and it's just open nets like this that can punish you. 3-1. Endpoint just looking good.
I mean, that was about the most perfect cheat I might have ever seen. Because Metza was in the exact place he needed to be, and I don't even think, realistically, he would have had to dodge to get that in either. Archie went for boost, didn't go for the cheat, which is quite unusual, but Metsonoris coming off the better from that. Archie, I trying to go for a solo play, but being removed by a Relating Wave. All of the Endpoint lads have learned by the bumping osmosis that Virtuoso is able to offer to his teammates. Wave gets it central. Archie, though, waiting. Flame can pick up that back mid boost. Setting in for the long haul here. Flame now can get the shot, but once again, it's over. The accuracy is lacking for Top Blokes right now.
We also have to tip our cap to just Relating Wave, going up to get that ball. The defense, when it has to show up for Endpoint, it does. That's the big thing. It doesn't always have to be there. But when the shots are accurate enough from Top Blokes, Endpoint's always there to meet it. And so their defense has really just kept them in this game. I understand that it can be kind of sloppy offense on either side, but when that happens, you're relying on defense to step up and make plays. And Virtuoso, Relating Wave, all doing their job. Relating Wave going to try to run the point to Metsonoris, no second touch. And as they continue to kill time with about 60 seconds left, that's an open net. Archie going to try to come down, absolutely whiffs. No! Virtuoso! That can't happen. Oh my God!
He's a number 2 in Europe, Virtuoso. Get rid of both of the defenders. Oh, that is a sublime shot for the 4th goal for Endpoint. Making Top Blokes look like child play.
that was. If anyone watches football, I don't want to say United States. If anyone watches football, that's like watching the Atlanta Falcons just watch the onside kick roll. Like,
I know, right?
You got to get out in front of that. Like, what are you doing? There's a big old ball you got to hit.
Oh my
gosh. Go
gosh.
get that thing.
Beautiful play from Vert, showing that confidence as well against such a strong team, making them look silly. But Flame wants to get the second goal in this match. Virtuoso fades high. And then both the defenders for Top Blokes end up faking it as well, deliberately or not.
Well. Oh, and spread it enough.
Another wide shot, man.
I'm telling you, dude, their offense just does not look good right now.
It doesn't. They're getting chances. It's one thing to say that they're not looking good when they don't get chances. That is a mental nail in the coffin right there, because it's finally a chance where an incredible pass does come out to Flame Central, gets the shot on. That should be going at least on target, if not in. Poor performance by Top Blokes leaves Endpoint 2-0 up in the series. And any doubters of Endpoint looking silly right now, looking at you, Subi.
Well, we've seen what, 2 or 3? No, I don't know why I'm being that low. 4 or 5 attempts from the elbow, from the corner, that Top Blokes have tried to angle that shot. Either been a little bit wide to the left, the crossing wasn't there, but also, I know I've hit on this a couple of times, but I want to reiterate this point. There has been zero power behind some of these hits from Top Blokes when it comes to getting, actual boost behind the ball, whether you're talking about, flip resetting over the net. Like, there's been quite literally times where the ball will roll casually in front of the box and Endpoint will be able to take it out. Like, it's one thing to try to play that angle and try to get lucky with a shot, but if you have no power, that not only stops your second and third waves of attempt on offense to get a follow-up hit, but it stops any chance of a bad ricochet going your way, because the defense can take that out and carry it to midfield. So it's one thing, the accuracy's been an issue, but the other thing, dude, like, Top Blokes just look like they're not getting any good hits behind these offensive pushes literally on the ball, and that's worrying me. Like, I know it's basically the first game of the day, but come on, this is a big event this weekend. We got Thursday, so we got today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. Like, you gotta step up.
I mean, to be 2-0 down against a team that Dazza proudly said has never made it to playoffs so far is not a good place for Top Blokes to be. And Top Blokes fans right now will be scared for how this team are performing today, because if you bow out in 4 series, which, I mean, Top Blokes after this technically on track to do, I don't imagine they will, but very, very scary position. But starting off game number 3 is just offense for Endpoint. As Related Wave sends it central. Nets are now with a chance. Do you reckon that Top Blokes can take this, or are they looking down and out and already looking into the next series?
I think anything is possible, but is it probable? No, because, I mean, unless we see a complete 180 in their offense, they are playing stay alive defense, right? They're just kind of doggy paddling in the water. When it comes to actually pushing on offense, they're pretty predictable. They'll put a double commit into the corner. If they don't play the ball out, they try to go for these elbow hits, these long angle shots that no power behind it, right? No good booming clears. They need a literal complete 180, or this is going to be a 3-0 series.
Related Wave from the backboard will try and take it to the wing, where Virtuoso just removed Archie. But Archie is alive and well and comes back. Flame taking out Virtuoso. Related Wave bumped by Archie. Much more physical game coming out. We saw Cassio took the full minute to chat to his team. He did not ready up straight away. So there's been a chat in the Top Blokes comms. Maybe demos, maybe bumps were number 1 on that agenda. And it's not a bad idea at all, to be honest. Remove more of their players, you have a better chance of scoring.
I think there's a couple of times where, that saying comes out, like, don't think too much, just play the game. I think this is one of those instances where, should I have been in those comms, I would have said, hey, let's slow it down, but also let's just think more, because a bunch of these hits have been really off base. We haven't gotten power behind the hits. Let's think more about our push. Let's think more, hey, am I in a good position to recenter this ball? Do I have a teammate near me? I mean, we saw 2 or 3 times where they would try to recenter in front of the net and no one was there to follow up, right? So I don't know if it's communication. I don't know what it is, but I would be saying, let's think more about how we push this ball out and not just go for these crazy angles that we're clearly not hitting.
And you were completely right earlier when you said that a weak shot on the defense that you're trying to score against it's not just bad as a shot, but it can also set up the other team for a counter-attack. Metzer with a ridiculous touch. Wave can't quite get the shot off. That was like a floor pinch, but it just about bubbled over Flame. But yeah, I completely agree. If you're taking a weak shot, firstly, it's easy to save. Secondly, they can get a counter-attack. And thirdly, not exactly confidence-inspiring to see your teammate after a full offensive push just gently slap it towards the net. You want them to boom it with meaning. And Virtuoso not quite getting the first goal in game number 3.
And we're not really seeing a lot of second and third touches. Like for Endpoint, it's been there. Even if they don't get a touch off the backboard, they don't get a flip reset, they're able to flip the ball over, and oh god, everyone has to commit back on that ball. But with top Blokes, right? Like we just saw in the previous play, a player was going towards the top of the backboard. Instead of going for a double touch to maybe extend it, they kind of gave up on it, and they just let the ball hang there for Endpoint to take away. So again, I'm not trying to harp on top Blokes, but we understand the caliber that these players can play at. We understand what they can bring. And it just looks like they are playing Among Us. The imposters are here. I don't know where Top Blokes was. I don't know where they are, but they are not showing up right now.
If you're Top Blokes and you hear Spaceman comparing you to Among Us, a game that he fundamentally does not know how to play, you know you're not doing a good job in Rocket League. So they want more chances to come out. 1 minute with no instant thus far. Related over though, Central on target too, but Archie can save it away. Cassio long could go for the double, but Metsnora's there. Cassio also trusting the Metsnoras would get that. Maybe I would have followed up on that. Get the dunk, because Metzer a couple of times has messed up with those backboard touches. Typically quite good, but today does not seem to be his backboard defense day. Now, midfield, Cassio sends it towards the left, but Archie is waiting. Archie wanted it high, so he'd go off the ceiling and cannot get the second one on that. Metzer sends it down that right-hand wing, can also pick up that back hundo. Demo from Vert. Archie is out of the game. Wave, though, has to turn around. Picks up that mid boost, so it will go straight back into the hands. Shot on by Archie, saved away by Virtuoso.
That's what you need right there, because now you can follow up into the corner and continue to try to extend the play. The more power you put behind the shot, the more the defense has to slow down to read it. Second touch, just a little too high. Follow up. No, the saves! How? How do they continue to do this? But finally, Archie puts it in.
Archie, that should have been in to begin with. My God, man. Virtuoso gifts it slightly towards Archie. Low on boost, but Archie's so lucky to have a third attempt at that shot. 1-0 for Top Blokes. 7 seconds remain. Could be the first win for the Blokes in this matchup. Cassio goes high. Metsnoras misses as well. Cassio can get the second goal too. Metsnoras sloppy at the end, but the fate was pretty much sealed anyway. Oh my word. The fact that that's what it took for Blokes to score.
Look what happens when you put power behind the ball and you get a chance to try again. That's been the biggest issue for Top Blokes, is they've had no second chances on these attacks. Look what happens as soon as they put power behind the shot. Everyone can commit. You can control the pace into the corner. If the ball gets pushed out, you just continue to put body after body on net. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Top Blokes playing what we expect. Finally, we're seeing them get second and third chances at the net. It came late in that game, but dude, a win is a win. Oh my God, yeah, it was good to see. Yay, they did it.
Yay, I love the emphatic yay.
Now, I want to know how you're doing, because, of course, now we start looking at 2-1 territory, and we know that, Endpoint's a near and dear to your heart. So how are you doing over there, Stumpy?
I mean, this is the exact situation where Endpoint do fail. This is where they falter, because they don't have that ability to just stay, I think, they can get in their own heads, but rarely is that positive. Because they typically fall into a mood where they will think, why didn't we win that? And they'll focus on the last game, despite the fact that they need to just look forward, it's the next game, continue ploughing on. Hoping that it does get to a point where that will no longer be an issue, but Top Blokes looking like they were very more confident in that last 30 seconds than we have seen them in the other 2 games and 4 minutes 30 on top of that. So Top Blokes now starting to rear up, starting to get into a good position for themselves and for their fans. Do I think a reverse sweep is on the cards? Yeah, always is. Literally always is, because it's a scary moment to be 2-0 up, and then it, especially at 7 seconds left, and then it falters. Because Top Blokes there, you just felt it in their heads. It just snapped, and they're like, oh, hit the ball hard, and then we can maintain the pressure. And they can't just dribble it out of defense. And yeah, this is, I think, now a point where Endpoint will be their biggest enemy.
This is the biggest reset they needed in this entire series. Honestly, that one hit, look what spawned from that. And that's why I got so excited. I was like, dude, they actually hit the ball. Like, that's it. Not only is it like a mental reset for the team, like, okay, that is off our back now. We can just try to play Rocket League. But when so many times I talk about whatever esport you want to look at, you can rely on fundamentals. You can rely on your laurels as a team. But one of the big things that when a team is pressured and put to the task, you look at the personality. What is this team's personality, right? If you want to talk about shooters, are they a slay-heavy team? Do they play objective really well? Rocket League, are they a clear-heavy team? Do they, like Rogue's personality is, we are going to fly all the time, and we're going to put pressure. This is Top Blokes' personality has yet to come out. So the fact that they now have this mental clear, they can now focus on just playing Rocket League. Now it feels like they got a massive chip off their shoulder. And while I'm grilling them on just simple mistakes, I honestly feel like, look, this is their best chance to tie up this series. If they come out flat in this game, it's over. Endpoint's going to win it. But if they can come out and continue to put pressure on the ball, continue to put actual decent shot attempts on net and follow it up, we could be looking at a game 5. But it just, I feel like we haven't seen Top Blokes yet. Finally, after that one hit, it's amazing what one actual hit in Rocket League can do for a team. I'm glad. I'm glad they're here. I just want to see good Rocket League.
Definitely. Likewise. I mean, I love Endpoint and I love Top Blokes. I'm so happy that this game is rearing up to be a better game than a better competitive series than it was in the first two. Despite the fact we got that incredible Virtuoso fake. If I don't see that on Reddit later, I'm going to be livid.
I didn't even know how to react. I was just like, what do I say? Like, you just kind of want to laugh. You're like, there's no way you just
that's
let that
just
happen.
Amazing.
Like,
yeah, I think if we see Top Blokes come out here strong and they come out how they want to be playing and how they know that they can play, then I worry for Endpoint because whoever wins this game wins the series. So Endpoint, it's because they've got 3 games. And for Top Blokes, if they win, it's because they have the momentum. And Endpoint, they are not good when they are fighting an uphill battle. But game number 4, this is where it all happens.
Strap yourselves in, lads. It's going to be fun. Flame. Playing big defense in the front of the box. They'll leave it out to RJ, who will carry. Archie, no boost now. Will not get the pinch. And Castillo comes in for the follow-up. So back as a recovery, Flame will be there. We'll recenter. And Metsnars will take it away. Now a chance for Endpoint as they extend. Touch from Virtuoso. Little high. Archie will take that out, no problem. So this is where we start to look at both teams kind of withering the storm. If they can get a punch in, you're looking at spreading the defense on the line to create mismatches where those hits can connect. But for now, you just want to weather out, what any momentum Top Blokes has, whether or not they want to put power behind the ball or if they want to push on offense. If you're Endpoint, you're just looking at holding off for a couple of minutes and then starting to formulate your attack.
I think I'd like to see Top Blokes find each other more as well. We've seen Flame has got the idea in his head now where they're finding each other somewhat out of defense, where earlier Flame sent it to Archie, and then he got further down the pitch, and it was much better transition play. Endpoint have been doing that consistently there. Metsnars to Virtuoso, who immediately moved in position, and then down to Wave. Now it's suddenly a scoring chance out of a defensive position. And Top Blokes, they've been lacking that. Endpoint have been pretty much perfect.
Here's a good chance. Metsnars has no boost. Bad read to Casio. 1, 2, 3 off the corner. That's exactly what Top Blokes needed.
Great start for Top Blokes as well, maintaining that pressure, and Archie sending it gently in the middle as well. Casio lurking on the open net. And also, not a bad position for Casio to be in, even if that ball did get challenged away, and it never fell to him because he's got the momentum and there was an available back boost that he can then steal regardless. But that is going to be open again for Flame, helped on by Relating Wave, and Top Blokes all of a sudden looking like the scarier, better team.
And look what they're doing. They're extending the play. It was Archie who brings the ball across the net. So not only do you take the defense off of position, but you self-serve it right to a teammate. This is exactly what you need to do. Extend the play. If you can't get power, individual prowess is always a good thing. This is where Top Bloke shines, and this is why we expected this team to possibly take the series in our pre-game warm-up. But, man, they just look like a much better team right now. Good second touch. Virtuoso makes it a 2-1 game.
Much better chance there for Virtuoso. Metza faking to go up the wall and ends up cutting in and sending it high. Casio caught completely off guard on the line as Virtuoso is able to send it under the crossbar. And great play by Mets. Like I said, faked it wide. Typically, you'd go round up the wall, maybe touch it down, touch it in, then go for a demo. Instead, cuts it, sends it central. Really, really nice play. And now Casio with a chance to send Top Blokes just one more goal ahead, but touched away by Metzer will cease that phase of play.
And we're starting to see the passing for both teams. What a beautiful read through the defense. I mean, just absolutely threading the needle. And Flame will poke it down. Casio, that's going to ricochet back down. Waterfall, but no one will be there to touch. Archie into the corner. Relating Wave will grab boost. Back down again. We've seen a couple of spikes come out. Casio trying to restabilize, but Relating Wave will take it away. Gets it over both. Archie has to back up, but plenty of boost to be able to recover. He'll do just that. And they'll bring it up towards the ceiling. Archie again extending. And now look, Top Blokes are starting to get everyone involved on these passes. And that's what's led to some of these scorelines.
Yeah, looking at like in this matchup, Top Blokes do have the slight edge coming into game number 4. But if Endpoint do end up taking this, this is the biggest upset we will have seen for a little while.
Agreed.
Because this is the number 2 team in Europe. Like, they are incredible, Top Blokes. And Endpoint putting forward a great performance against them. But, you know, Top Blokes, not much bad you can say about them coming into this fourth game rather.
Yeah.
Sent far. Metzer can catch. Sends it high. Vert is there. Virtuoso, when we've watched him in the grid, goes for some of the strangest ceiling plays I have ever seen in my life. He will be up before anybody from Endpoint even has a convincing touch on the ball. And typically, it's not too bad, but sometimes he does give away free goals from it. So I don't think his teammates going to want for that to happen. But Related Wave to Virtuoso. Pressure maintained by Endpoint.
Good slowdown to Metsonoris. Almost got the pinch there. And if you're Endpoint, honestly, Stumpy, I think you have to close him out in this game. If we go to game 5, it's going to be a little scary for Endpoint.
Agreed.
Surely, last game, there wasn't a lot of offensive opportunities for Endpoint, but this one, you really have to close them out if you want a chance in this series, even though it's a 2-1 lead. Currently, that's going to come back down. Casio, no second touch. Metsonoris going to try to take it out. The pinch will extend the play, but taken away by Archie. No boost. Flame comes in, and Flame makes it 3-1. Oh, it's looking scary right now. Top Blokes in full control.
Really good boost control there from Casio, where he went round and grabbed the back right on Endpoint's perspective, meaning that Relating Wave had nothing. He was rotating on absolutely 0 boost. That pinch then can come off the roof. Goes bottom corner 2. Clear now for Top Blokes. Endpoint being in a scary position in game 5. The reverse sweep very, very much on the cards. Relating Wave wants to clear this away as quick as possible. Archie there with the shot on. Suddenly a sniper.
Sometimes it just doesn't hit, and other times you start finding that angle. This is what they were going for the first 2 games. They literally could not get it to land. Finally it does, and when Archie starts hitting that, when that angle starts becoming an option, like the dimensions to this offense, there's a reason Top Blokes is arguably number 2 in Europe. Like, they're so good at finding the right angle to work through a defense. And right now, it's a 4-1 lead. This should be a Game 3 win. Or, excuse me, Game 4 win. I apologize. And it will be. It'll be a 2-2 series. 20 seconds left. Endpoint looking, pretty good when it comes to offense, like extending these plays. But I feel like other than that one goal, they haven't had a lot of close net opportunities. They haven't been able to put the ball right on the corners or paint that upper 90.
I mean, I think a lot of what we've seen... Great play. Couldn't quite go in, though. I think a lot of what we've seen isn't even necessarily a change on Endpoint's half. I think that they have just gone for the same plays they were doing previously.
Agreed.
But what has changed is Top Blokes are suddenly... They are hitting the shots that they are being gifted by Endpoint with lax backboard defense, with wider rotations. Top Blokes are now cutting in, taking shots, and putting them in threatening positions as well. And that's in the Endpoint they're going to really struggle to deal with going into Game 5, with Top Blokes on the cusp of a reverse sweep as well. Dominant first 2 games from Endpoint, but man, completely different story going into Game 4. And now Game 5, who do you have taking it?
I mean, you have Top Blokes shooting 4 goals on 6 shots as a team, 2 for 2 for Flame, 1 for 3 for Arch. Like, at this point, with how Top Blokes are playing, I'm using the eyeball test. What do my eyeballs tell me? My eyeballs tell me the Top Blokes have woken up. They're starting to hit the angles that they could not hit in games 1 and 2. And Endpoint had a chance in games 3 and 4 to close it out. They weren't able to do it. I think Top Blokes takes this. And it's not even Top Blokes. Oh, excuse me. It's not even Endpoint playing bad. Like, they're not playing any different than they did in the first 2 games. It's just that they're now playing Top Blokes, which
yes,
they didn't play in the first 2 games. So it's, you know, it happens, man.
Such a roller coaster for Top Blokes fans too. But game 5 is going to be a heartbreak for one of these teams. Either the reverse sweep happens or we see Endpoint taking it away. But good chances to start with for Endpoint. Off the ceiling, Metza can get the second. Central, anybody up? No, Virtuoso is not there. Casio takes it low and whips it around the right-hand side. Central back behind Wave. But the save does come in. Virtuoso turning round. Backboard called off by Wave, who can send it towards Metz. High, Metz will not follow, but Vert will send it towards target. Archie saving it away. Big offensive plays already for both teams.
And I'm not saying Endpoint has, but one of the issues that Top Blokes had in the beginning of the series was they were very hesitant on offense. They weren't really sure. The decision-making wasn't there when it came to extending, when it came to the dimensions, where they wanted to play the ball. You're seeing none of that now, right? Like, they're able to move the ball forward with ease. These flips are perfect. Sure, it's not a shot on net, but it extends it up for Flame, who can try to bring it back down. But it's the decision-making, right? It's in real time. For Endpoint, not that it's not there, but we're not seeing that same aggressive commitment on offense that they used to have in games 1 and 2.
That demo from Archie completely shuts down the play that Virtuoso and Metz started to set up. Removing Metz just meant that Vert's pass went nowhere, and then pressure can continue for Top Blokes. Fantastic demo. Now Flame wants to go for the double. Wave in the net, nobody goes for it, but Metz from the in and out save too. Chance to go central, Vert leaves that side boost. Maybe should have grabbed it, but gets it on the way back down. Wave towards that left-hand wall. Lands awkwardly. Maybe could have beaten Wave to it, so Flame to it rather. Now central bounce. Casio up to Archie. Moves out of the way as Casio instead takes the shot on. Wave not getting a flick. Ow, and that failed touch will open it entirely for Flame to get the first goal.
A little slow on defense. You said it best. Virtuoso kind of misses his read. I think he was going for a demo on Flame. And I think Flame either hesi-stepped or just with a staggered push avoids the demo. And as soon as that happens, literally no one's in net. It's an easy read to the back. I just think that, you know, Endpoint kind of missed a read there, and they had the right idea. They just weren't able to execute. And the takeaway from Top Blokes will now put pressure on Endpoint to make a stand on defense.
Wave wants to get this ball away as soon as possible, but Archie is making that impossible. Metza sends it high on the left. Chances are opening themselves, but a miss does open up the back boost for Metz, but Casio negates the need for any boost. He'll work his way down the pitch. Archie takes it slow with Virtuoso. Metz up to Vert. Central. Flame to catch. Casio from backboard. That back boost will be taken by Virtuoso. Archie beats out Metz, and back in the Endpoint half does the ball go. Flame central. Casio going for a bump, and look at this return from Endpoint. Truly back and forth play right now. Either team looking poised to take the second goal in the game.
Well, that big demo could open things up. Relating Wave will be there. Flame going to challenge that off the sidewall. Big stuff from Archie. Not over Metz-Norris, though. And we haven't seen Endpoint get a good look at it yet. They're looking for at least 2 defenders to be falling behind, and maybe Virtuoso can extend this play and be that guy. Metz-Norris, though, will send it back down. And again, this ball will remain in the blue half, so Top Blokes have time to grab boost at midfield and contain the pressure. Finally, Endpoint are able to move out, but it gets immediately stalled and taken away.
This is where Metz's play of cutting it off in the midfield will be so important. Securing a chance there for Virtuoso. Wave continuing it as well. But Metz on these sidewalls is lethal. He will cut it out and whip from sidewall to sidewall as often as you like, no matter where the ball goes. He follows it, and Casio with another gigantic miss, presuming he's low on boost, but Endpoint take those.
That's their third booming hit in this series for a goal. That's their third one.
He could have reached that. He had about 20 boost.
That's their third. If Top Blokes lose this game, Stumpy, that's their third booming hit they've given up.
It's spicy, isn't it? This matchup, man. It's so good. So good. But 60 seconds on the clock as Metza sends it far to Virtuoso. Gently bumps Arch out the way, reminding him who is boss after all. Metza central from the ceiling. Realizes Archie is there first, so we'll leave that play to go all the way to his half. Vert, 100 boost, and forces Archie to chase him too. Archie has got a chip on his shoulder. 45 seconds remain. They're even. I feel like an overtime's coming.
Can we get an oxygen check on Stumpy right now? Open net. I was just thinking it. No dumb defense. No dumb defense from Endpoint. You can't give up a goal like this. And literally 0 bodies in the back of the net. You can't afford to give up a goal like that. 2-1. Top Blokes. Just, again, Endpoint. This defense in the last 2 games is shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, Wave's rotation, letting down Endpoint there entirely. Should not have challenged that, but Mets giving Wave a redemption story. Goes high, falls down. Both Flame and Cassio commit. Can Wave keep this ball central? He can. Virtuoso's there. Central again. Mets Norris, though, too far in the center. As Wave will rotate on that and will pick up that back boost, meaning Mets can send it over towards Virtuoso. 10 seconds remain. Top Blokes about to secure the reverse sweep. Mets and Norris needs his chance. That is central. Good chance, but Flame saves it away. Virtuoso keeps it high. Cassio up to challenge, off the ceiling. Tough to get to. And Top Blokes wipe the floor in the end. Those final 3 games, Endpoint did not have enough to resist the reverse sweep. I said, along with Cole, supporting Endpoint is, in one word, pain. And that is why Top Blokes, incredible.
I don't know why the desk was saying, I disagree. They have to be in a certain position. No, screw that. That was pain. You ever watch them play like I just did?
Real pain.
That's painful. But honestly, the one thing, Stumpy, the one thing I will slightly disagree with you is saying that the Top Blokes wiped the floor. Sure, in Game 4 and possibly Game 3 at the end they did. That Game 5 was not looking pretty for Top Blokes to a minute. Like I just got to put that out there. Like even with that win, if you're a Top Blokes fan, you got to be heavily concerned with this team. Not scared, not worried. You have to be concerned with what they're doing because their defense is sloppy. Their offense doesn't have a lot of dimensions. Finally, they're hitting the angles they were looking for. But man, Endpoint kind of gave up that last game, sure. But at the end of the day, both teams looking very sloppy. So I am interested to see what Top Blokes is able to do now. I'm going to keep my eye on them and look at their defense specifically. Couple of booming hits that should not have gone in as goals that they gave up. So who knows?
I mean, tell you what, though, really, really good chances for both teams to show what they are about, where Virtuoso opened up the net for Metza to get those long booming shots. We were complaining about Cassio. He was missing, ultimately, a couple of those booming shots, but Virtuoso was not making it easy for him. Alternatively, Top Blokes showing what they can be when they aren't feeling the gameplay that they'd like to do, when they aren't just having constant shot on target. When they're pushed back, they do work themselves into an awkward position, and Endpoint forced them there. So ultimately, good performance by Endpoint, especially mentally, working their way into that 2-1 at the end of Game 5 as well. Typically, I would be worried that we'd see a blowout in that Game 5 because of the mentality that Endpoint do have, but Top Blokes, I agree. We're going to be harsh on them because of the team that they are. Yeah. They can do better than that. Fans of them won't be hearing us say that and think, well, that seems a little bit harsh. That was about what Top Blokes have to offer. No one's thinking that. So if you guys have any thoughts, let us know on Twitter. That was a series that I think will leave us gobsmacked for a little while. If you guys have anything to say, let us know on Twitter using hashtag RLCSX and tweeting at RL Esports. We are going to be back after this break with a few round 3 matchups. It will still be me. It will still be Spaceman. We'll see you in about 5 minutes.